That was you feeling very superior and looking very down at us and thinking you are more powerful than all of us. Am I correct to put that statement?
No, that's not correct.
But what was going on? I mean, if the chairperson is sitting there, we are here, why would you just feel this power that you don't have over parliament and just walk out?
I'm afraid it's a misinterpretation on your part. It may look that way, unfortunately, and it's it's very unfortunate. My health isn't good, and I'm already now starting to feel quite a bit of pain sitting here.
Honorable,
And I really don't think.
Mr. O'Sullivan, can we reserve that question for for our later session, like I requested? That we will come and deal with that matter and give you time to solicit answers from him. Yeah. If you can please now ask him, are you fine? You can proceed.
So when you were saying to Honorable Skosana, go and pay your debt, and so on and so forth, in the precinct of parliament, you are continuing with your style of silencing people, intimidating people. And you thought Honorable Skosana was those kind of people who will sheepishly just disappear by you telling them about their private and personal matters. Because I think that's how you got your influence in society and in the law enforcement, where you come across personal information about people and you use it to silence them. And that fits very well into the narrative that you have become this bully in the country where you do as you wish. And you wanted to do that with Honorable Skosan. By extension, all of us sitting here.
Chairman, I didn't hear there's no question, it's just a statement.
Yeah, it's not only, we don't only ask questions, we
this,
also make
should
statements.
I respond to the statement? Okay. You know, Chairman, when I left last week, I was followed out. Actually, first of all, there was an attempt to obstruct me leaving. And then I was followed out. And then outside Parliament, without parliamentary protection, I was provoked. I don't know what it's all that squeaky noise. Outside Parliament, I was provoked. A statement was made in front of the glare of the media. He's a spy, he's running away. Look at that spy, he's running away. And I pointed out to him, very simply, I said, you're not in Parliament now. You don't, I don't know what's this squeaky noise. I said, you're not in Parliament now. You don't have the protection of Parliament. It'd be better if you just go and settle your debt with the bank. And that was it. That's all I said. And it had nothing to do with bullying or trying to silence. If the member had not have been insulting me outside Parliament, I would have not said anything at all. But unfortunately, by that stage, I had heard enough insults.
Mr. O'Sullivan, just for your information, Mr. Skosana was still in Parliament. This is a precinct of Parliament, and all his privileges and yours were prevailing at that moment. So Parliament does not necessarily mean me and you sitting under this building. It means the whole precinct. And so if we're going to take that discussion further, at least have that understanding. But I want to ask a different question.
So the fact of the matter is, Chairman, I don't agree with that interpretation of the Act, I believe that Act applies to a sitting, either a committee or a parliamentary process. I don't believe it applies to the car park and the whole of the precinct. It's like saying, oh, you're in Cape Town, you can say anything you want. My interpretation, and there may be disagreement, my interpretation of it is that I was being badgered. I was being followed out and screaming and shouting at me, provoking me. And if that wouldn't have happened, there would have been no comment about go pay back the bank, or it's better if you go and settle the bank, or whatever the words were that I said. So I'm not accepting that you have parliamentary privilege everywhere. You have here, yes, you can call me all the names under the sun, and I have to sit here and tolerate it. But once you step outside, you're no longer having the protection. That's my interpretation. And if I'm wrong, then so be it. But the point is, I responded. And I'm, based on the information I had available at that time, I was just responding from my stomach and my heart, not from my head, because I was just tired of all the insults that I'd received that day.
Were you friends with is it Anthony, the one who bought Cratcher's house? Because earlier on, when Nomvalo asked you, Honorable Nomvalo asked you, the first impression you created was that you don't know the person who bought the house. It was bought by the company. Later on, I went to have a braai. I called the director of the company, and so on and so forth. And when members pursue you, it looks like you always knew this person, even when you were buying the house. Even when you went for a braai, you knew the person. Am I correct?
Yeah, so it's a timing issue because the house was sold, and the person that bought the when I say the house was sold, the person that bought the house, I can't even remember his name. So actually, as far as Anthony is concerned, I bid at the auction, and I had him on a telephone because I suggested to him that if the house was available on auction for a good price, it would be worth buying. So I had already known him a number of years by that stage. And yeah, so that's it.
So you guys bought a Creature's house, you and Anthony?
No, I didn't buy it. I assisted him to buy the house.
But you are partners?
Not on that business.
Or not on the company that bought the house?
That is correct.
So when it comes to buying the house, you and Anthony, even when you have assisted him and put him on the telephone and all of that, the relationship stops when he's buying the house. From there, it continues. This partnership. It only separates on the buying of the house, but otherwise you are partners.
Chairman, I have a lot of other business activities that Anthony isn't involved in. He has a lot of business activities that I'm not involved in, and we have some business activities which we are both partners in. That's how it works out there. But I was not the partner on that. I just merely assisted him by going to the auction and bidding.
And you know by principle that the complainant can never be an investigator on his own matter. That you know. You can't say there is nothing that stops the complainant to be an investigator. From a simple principle of law, you cannot be a complainant and investigator in your own matter.
Which act are we referring to?
No, I'm saying a principle. A generally accepted principle is that you can't be a complainant, an investigator, and a judge in your own matter.
Well, you certainly can't be investigator and judge, that's for sure, because that would be a distinct conflict of interest. But the reality of the situation is that you can be a complainant and investigator provided you have no conflict of interest. Now, for example, if Forensics for Justice set up investigations into state-sponsored corruption, we're not a victim of that crime. The whole of the country are victims of those crimes. What we are doing is we are investigating those crimes for the sole purpose of bringing that case to a point where the corrupt individuals can be prosecuted. We don't go out there to fabricate any cases. All that evidence has to stand the test of time in a court of law. We sit with the prosecutors, we sit with the police, and where there's under-resourcing of the police and the prosecutors, we help them fill that gap by providing the specialized skills that we have, so that, for example, the matter can be brought to trial. And if you look at most of the big fraud and corruption cases today, the police don't work those cases on their own. They work them with forensic companies because they just don't have the resources to work those cases on their own. So you end up with firms like Ernst & Young or PwC. Some law firms have their own investigation teams like Weber Wenzel, Bowman's. And those teams work together with the police. We do exactly the same. We work together with the police. We don't drive the investigation. We assist the investigation. And I think that's the most important thing to understand. If the police had to do these investigations on their own, they'd never get out of the starting blocks because they just don't have the resources. So what happens is, and there's a balancing act, with Forensics for Justice, I fund those investigations because I believe it helps make the country a better country. And we also get some public subscription. But in the 10 years that Forensics for Justice has been running, I doubt very much that our public subscription exceeds
We
R1 million,
don't have too much time.
whereas
See, I'm being
my
so nice to you.
contribution exceeds 15 million rand. So I try to do it.
Yeah.
It's my way of putting something back into the community.
That's fine, but you just answered it. You are not investigating. You are assisting the investigation because you know for a fact that you cannot be a complainant and an investigator at the same time. So, for instance, if I were to complain about a criminal who ran away from parliament and I open a case against that criminal and the police say, we can't see that criminal, here is the criminal at the airport. It doesn't make me an investigator. I'm just helping police who are saying, we can't see, we have been looking around and we can't find this person. I'm like, in the same matter where I'm a complainant, the person I'm complaining at said is going to the airport, is probably at the airport, is rushing for a flight. We don't know why he's rushing for a flight when he's got a private jet. Look for him there at the airport. I'm assisting them. I'm not investigating, but I'm a complainant. You know for a fact that that's why you are saying we are assisting them in the investigation. You cannot be a complainant and investigator in your own matter. You know that.
I disagree.
Then you are deliberately trying to mislead this house. Because this country must live here with the understanding that they can be complainants and be investigators in their own matters. It's wrong.
Chairman, if the complainant is an investigative firm, but not the victim of the crime, it's standard practice that they carry out the initial investigation, and that's exactly what we do. We carry out the initial investigation, we prepare all the evidence and the sworn statements that we take, and when we've finished with doing all that, we go and sit at the police station and we register the docket. And after that, we meet with the police and we meet with the prosecutor and we ascertain, is there something else they need? If we are able to assist, we will do so. And we have cases going at the moment, complex fraud cases involving hundreds of millions of rand, where the prosecutor sits with us and the police and the prosecutor would say, is it possible to get a statement from this person and that person? And the policeman would say, that person is employed by the complainant company. So is it okay if the forensic firm get that statement? And the prosecutor agrees. And that's standard practice. It's going on all the time. So it's not a case of where we are the victim. We are the
Thank
complainant.
you, Mr. Robert.
Sorry.
Follow Sullivan.
I wanted to ask you if you've got a police station in your house.
The time of the member has expired.
I've got 3 of them.
The time of the member has expired.